It's 2 minutes to go, so everyone didn't make your cast. Please making your vote outside the room now. So have 2 minutes to go. Thank you.
Are you ready? Yes. No, I'm asking to Nick. Okay. So since it is 2 p.m., I'd like to restart Policy 6 session. And since it is second session, we have 2 secretary report, one for implementation and another for document. And also, we cannot introduce confer in morning session, so Adam will introduce that. And also we have ASO AC advice as fourth item. Then next is a Prop 111, and last one will be update on live NCC inter-RIR transfer proposal. Then I'm not sure the order, but we also have election chair result announcement at around 3 p.m. That's the all item which we have in this afternoon session. So Adam, can you, since some people has not yet come back, so I would like to have Secretariat report as first item in this session.
Thank you, Chair. So some of this has already been mentioned today, I think, for people who are in the services section. And I'm sure you're all pretty familiar with it. And
can somebody close the door? Oh, thank you, Maya. Thank you.
It's the lawyer out there making all the noise. Thank you. Okay, the Secretary report on implementation.
Yeah, well, one announcement. We will close the voting, so no moves, no counting. The counting will be started, so no voting in. Okay, so now the result will be announced 3 p.m.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was announcement from election chair and our NC election chair. Go ahead, Adam.
Okay, thank you. So since we last met, we've had 3 implementations: Prop 105, Prop 107, and Prop 109. 2 of them were from the APNIC 36 meeting, so the meeting before in Xi'an. AS number transfer proposal and the preparation for 105. I'll look at 105 first, if I could. So the objective of this was to deal with the returns, the returned recovered address pool at IANA, and it called for us to set up a new second pool alongside the final /8 pool, which members or account holders could access for an additional up to 22. It kind of had its roots, that proposal had its roots way back in Hong Kong, 2011, which was the first policy session I supported. And it was the global policy for post-exhaustion of IPv4 allocation mechanisms. So just in case anyone here doesn't know what happened, some resources were sent back to the IANA, and the IANA didn't have a policy by which it could redistribute those resources. The IANA global policy for IPv4 only allowed it to give out chunks of /8s, and these weren't nice, neat 5/8s, and so it was a couple of rounds around the world to get a global policy that would allow us to redistribute those. So we knew we had some more resources coming from the IANA, and that would happen when one of the RIRs hit a /9, but then we didn't really have a policy to do anything with it. Our policy at the time would have seen all of those new resources going into the final /8 pool and being dealt with under the same rules as that, which would have made our final /8 pool significantly larger than a final /8. So, as I say, we had to wait until someone reached a /9, and LACNIC did on the 20th of May. And that triggered off a process whereby IANA equally distributes to the 5 RIRs whatever's in its pool. The big question, I guess, before that was whether, because it happened in May, the allocation period under the global policy is the 1st of March or the 1st of September. And so it looked like it was going to happen in another time, and we hadn't stipulated in the policy exactly what to do in that instance. And so they asked the ASO-AC whether they should wait until the 1st of March or the 1st of September, whichever, to make the first allocation, and the ASO-AC, after deliberating and consulting with the individual communities, said no, they should just go ahead and make the first one as soon as possible after someone reached the /9. So that happened. We got the resources and we implemented Prop 105 on the 27th of May, and anyone who was in the services session this morning will have seen that it's been very popular. We've seen a lot of small or very small ISPs come along and get resources. And interestingly, it seems from me looking at the statistics, in my opinion, it seems that people have held off. They hadn't come and got their 103 final /8 /22, but as soon as they could get us 2 /22s, they decided that it was worth going through the process and applying. We got lots of little bits. Those are the addresses of the blocks that we got in the first initial round, and it's a bit of a mix. The IANA had developed some software that tried to allocate the address pool back to the RIR that made the most sense. So based on who had this /8, the covering /8 or other delegations. And so then, not long after that, not the 1st of September, but the 3rd of September, which was I gather the next working day or very close to it. I think the 1st of September might be a holiday in the States. Received one nice clean /12. The next round will be 1st of March. But basically, to answer a question that was asked at the time, we need, so as the IANA runs down, exhausts this new pool, unless people top it up with other returned addresses, which is probably unlikely, that will take something like 5 years of these 6-monthly delegations. That pool, that second pool, APNIC needs all of those delegations to be put back into that pool in order to satisfy the needs of the additional /22. So each time we get a new delegation from the IANA, it doesn't open up a new pool unless something drastically changes. So we need all of those 5 or 6 million addresses that we have coming to us, I think it is. Moving on, Prop 107, AS number transfer policy. That was implemented, but as I think someone noted earlier today, there's no one we can do inter-RIR transfers, but certainly now APNIC account holders can transfer AS numbers internally. Implementation day was 16th of April. Moving header meeting, at the last APNIC policy SIG, we approved Prop 109, which was to delegate those two 24s to APNIC to be used in research. And that was implemented on the 7th of May, which was a pretty easy implementation, I guess. Just finally, quickly, I did actually say that I wouldn't report on this anymore. This is an old policy change from APNIC 34 about removing multi-homing requirements for IPv6. There was some concern that this might blow out the assignments in the IPv6 space. That's good for your reference. So that's when the policy was implemented, so it certainly hasn't resulted in a large increase in assignments. This year is actually lower than last year. So I think we can probably safely say that Prop 101 is not doing any significant damage. That's all. Thanks very much.
I have one additional comment about inter-RIL ASN transfer. I think RN has currently draft policy proposal, right? But still discussing. Yeah. Any comment? I don't see anybody, so let's go to next presentation.
This one's going to be a really quick one. For those regular visitors will know that we've been working on... Oh yes, sorry. Before that, so as I said, we had 3 implementations. It actually resulted in no changes to policy documents. I had done the policy documents for Prop 105 and 107 before the last meeting, even though they weren't implemented for different reasons. I reported on those changes to the documents last meeting. Prop 109 was simply a delegation, so there was no changes to the documentation. So as I was saying, those who are following along will know that I've been combining the 7 resource policies into one document, which we looked at the last meeting and agreed to restructure what I'd done in the first place. I did that and gave it to the SIG chairs about the 1st of June. I guess the reason I'm reporting on it again is because, well, now we've got to make it an active document. And the... oh, sorry, I've explained why I'm doing that. I think we all know. I have a question. I've got a choice now. Originally, I had said we would put it out for a 2-month informal review, because once I hit the formal document editorial policy review, that's 1 month, and then it goes live and it becomes the policy. We've kind of had a lot of review of this. We reviewed it and then I've changed it. And so my question is, I'm kind of keen to just put it into 1 month comment period. If anyone feels that we should have a longer informal period so people can have a good read of it, I'd like them to stand up now. Otherwise, I'm kind of ready to press ahead with this, if that's okay.
How many pages do you have?
How many pages? I'm not sure. It's around 13,000 words. I'm not sure how many pages it is. It's quite a lengthy document. You would need a long flight home to read it. No, yeah, it is quite a large document. Has anyone got any objections to me putting it out for 1 month final call?
Yeah. Is there anybody who has a problem for 1 month's comment period? Okay, I think 1 month is fine.
Okay, thanks very much.
I don't think it takes 1 month to read it.
Well, that's right, but everyone's very busy. I don't need to talk to this slide. I put it in there for your reference.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, is there? I think there is a. I don't think there is a comment about this one. So let me move to next one. Next one is our. Yes. Can I... Okay, gotcha. Next one is our what?
So now I'm going to show you, all our discussion this morning was kind of provoked by this consensus measurement tool that we've been considering. And I've got some slides, and if you go to the website, you'll be able to see them. But I thought rather than kind of do slides of something I can show live, we might have a crack at playing with it. And so if we can get this live, if I can sit at the...
Sure.
Can you hear me all right? good. So there's basically 2 pages to this tool. One is the end user page and one is the admin page. So hopefully you've already visited this page and registered so that you have a login. It's a bit small. So if you haven't done that, could you please go and do that now, because we're going to have a test of this while we're doing our consensus call on Prop 111. So you can get to it by typing confer or consensus at apnic.net. The link's on the website, it's on the policy page of the APNIC 38 conference website. While you're doing that, it looks like people are playing with it. So if you're an administrator, and this is what the chairs will use probably with secretariat support, you can see the registrants list is under construction. It did work at one point, I believe, because I saw it working, and then it kind of broke. So that's on the to-do list. So when the administrator comes in, I just want to show you how kind of easy it is to use. And I guess I'd like to see this used for a number of purposes around APNIC to do community consultations more than just the policy SIG, because you can really, really quickly set up a new question. So it doesn't have to be a proposal. So you type in the title. The URL could be a link to supporting documents or to the policy proposal page, and then this is an explanation. And then we just hit create, and then we have to make it current. So at the moment there's a different question current, and you can see that Prop 111 is already set up there to go. So the idea is that we know we're going to do a consensus call on Prop 111. Let's put it in the system already so that there's no panic to do it up on stage or whatever one we want. But as you all know, we generally, well, the chairs, sorry, generally tend to break down these consensus calls because there was a lot of discussion at the last meeting is that, well, let's not confuse this with voting, right? And well, I don't think there's much danger of that personally, because we quite often have reasonably complex proposals that aren't easily agreed on and not agreed on straight away. And so what we end up doing is the chairs will say, if we changed section A to be something else, would you then support the idea? But at the beginning of the session, you don't know which questions you're going to ask. So you need to be able to very quickly set up a question and then make it current. And so hopefully, I'm not logged in at the other end, but hopefully other people should have, oh, look, it's there anyway. So it says this proposal has closed. Click here to go to the new proposal. So if everyone could do that on their logged in screen. And we've got some opposing views. I'm not sure who those people are. And so as you can see, it updates in real time. And I've got, obviously there's a chat next to it, so you can, and this should be the same whether you're in the room or participating along at home. So look, it's very simple. That's all I need to show you. I just wanted for you all to see what's happening at the back end when we change the question. If anyone's got any questions.
Yeah, also it tracks your opinion, so you can change your opinion during the discussion, and it doesn't double count you.
And so the chairs can see it along here as well. And so what's missing off this is they would see a list of all the people currently logged into that question. Okay.
Okay. Is there any question or comment about Confer?
Thank you.
Okay. So, current proposal is Adam's Beer's one. I will switch to Prop 111 at the beginning of the discussion of Prop 11. Okay. Before that, you can play with this. Oh, also, is there anybody who has not yet registered to confer but would like to express your opinion? If so, please register as soon as possible. I think registration is very simple.
Oh, sorry, yes. So,
Less than one minute.
yeah, anyone
Right?
who's tried knows you could use a name that you don't mind seeing in the chat. Sorry, I thought it was going to be a short answer. So yes, registering is really easy. Your email address, a password that you can make up, and a display name which will appear against the chat window. Currently there's no password reset, so probably a good idea to keep something that's easy to remember, but and keep a display name that won't cause offence to anyone, I guess. But it's instant, so as soon as you log in, hit enter, it starts loading the browser again, and you're logged in, and you get the little radio buttons across the bottom.
And the URL is consensus.apnic.net.
And thanks to one suggestion, it's also available at Confer, which is less difficult to type. confer.apnic.net. Confer. Confer is an acronym, stands for Consensus Feedback in Real Time. Confer.
Okay. Oh, go ahead, Dean.
So when we started talking about this at the last meeting in Malaysia, one of the things that I brought up was, will there be any ability to check that the people clicking on these things are actually people unique people within the community, or is it possible just to log in 10 times on this and click strongly agree or strongly oppose? Is this actually going to be something that we can trust? If it's going to be part of the thing that we use to gauge consensus, what trust can we put in it? Am I able to quickly write up some Python and have 150 different logins on this? And was that please don't? Yeah.
But Byron, you can ask on the mic.
So keep in mind that this is a prototype to see what the next stage of development should be. Byron can help you out with that answer.
Yeah, so as Adam said, this is a pilot. So yes, you could write a Python script and log in 100 times. Please don't. If the community likes this and likes the direction, what we'll do is tie it into the authentication framework we use. So it'll be a bit more registered. The two-factor authentication I spoke about this morning would apply to this as well if you chose to enable it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome, yeah, because I think the trust that we can put in this is really important. So if there are any more things that this pilot doesn't represent, but it would be your intention to have that, it's useful for us to know now so that we can give feedback based on that rather than just what we're seeing.
I think the idea is that all things are possible, which is easy for me to say because I'm not doing the coding. But the purpose of the playing with it today is to gather community feedback for the real version, which might be phase 2 in Japan. Hopefully it will look a little prettier, and I guess the issue is talking to people about this tool. Some people will say, oh, I think it should do that, and other people say, oh, it's great as long as it doesn't do that. So we could come across some conflicting ideas about how it should work, and if that happens, that's something we're going to have to kind of negotiate through. But yeah, the idea is to say, oh yeah, I think this shows potential, but it should do X, Y, Z, such as authentication. The chairs will probably have some feedback. I want it to be able to do this. Should the participants list be visible to the end users or only to the chairs? That sort of stuff. Now, the purpose of us coding this in-house, because there's plenty of tools out there, and I did a pretty thorough review of them all, and there's plenty that you can pay virtually nothing to have, but we decided that it was more flexible and we'd be able to more easily respond to community desires by coding it ourselves. So subject to it costing $1 million to redevelop, we can do anything we want.
Also, I see some conversation about number of participants on the conference chat. Right now, it's not implemented, so it doesn't show up. I mean, number of participants. But
so yeah, after today, maybe we hop on the mailing list and with ideas, or
yeah,
the
today we will use this version for asking consensus, but I think maybe we will use both of show of hands and this tool in next couple of meetings. So please raise your request on the mailing list, as APNIC development team can add that feature if it is needed. Okay, is there any other comment? Maybe not. Okay, thank you very much, Adam.
thank you.
Okay, next is our SOAC advice provided to the IANA. Then where's after? Yeah. Please come to the podium.
Hello, everybody. May I have the slides, please? Okay, so as most of you have seen the global reports that I presented yesterday, that we provided an advice to IANA regarding ASN allocation. So we decided to give a detailed look, like why we gave that advice and what was the reason behind it, and what is the impact of that advice in coming days for APNIC region specifically. So as most of you are aware, that what is the role of ASOAC, that it's to review and develop global number resource policies and provide advice to ICANN board in conjunction with the RIR. As stated before, of April 15th, IANA asked ASOAC for an advice regarding a policy which is in place for quite a long time. The policy name is stated here, IANA allocation of ASN blocks to RIRs. So before getting into detail, we should understand that how the current policy works. As per the policy, IANA allocates ASN to RIR in a blocks of 1024 ASNs. After 31st of December 2010, it was agreed and endorsed by the ICANN board that 16-bit ASN and 32-bit ASN will be considered as there will be no distinction between these two. So there are three terms which we should consider right now: is 16-bit ASN, 32-bit ASN, and 32-bit only ASN. So there's a difference between these three, which are stated with the examples of range. It is for the purpose of documentation. Allocation policy is that RIR is eligible to receive additional ASN block from IANA if one of the following condition is met. If the RIR has used 80% or allocated 80% of the previously assigned ASN block, regardless is it 16-bit or 32-bit. Number of free ASNs currently held by RIR is less than 2 months need, and that 2 months need is calculated on the basis of last month, couple of months average, previous 6 months average. The one important point to note in that policy is the RIR will be allocated as many ASN blocks as are needed. So there is no restriction that how many you can receive. But support their registration need for next 12 months, like the way we have the need-based policy for IP addresses as well. The last line to remember when we move forward, this will be quite important. Unless the RIR specifically requests few blocks, then it qualifies for. So it is up to the RIR if they don't want a bigger chunk as per their need and need a smaller chunk. So the question raised was by RIR that AS numbers to the IRR and whether the holding of 16-bit AS numbers can be set to one side when evaluating requests for additional AS numbers from the INA AS number registry. As stated in the policy, there is no distinction between the 16-bit ASN and 32-bit ASN. So RIR requested if they can make a distinction and hold 16-bit ASN and consume 32-bit ASN and request for more ASN from the INA. That was the question posed by RIR to INA. So INA requested ASO-AC. We had a deliberation among the ASO-AC members during the ICANN 50 in London face-to-face meeting. It was quite intensive in discussing all the options. We also had an emergency meeting for that in the same month of April before the face-to-face meeting, and it was decided that we should make a questionnaire and send it to all the RIR's secretariat and get their feedback. So that questionnaire was made and sent on the same month, and response was posted in the global report. Link will be provided at the end. So that gave us a clear picture that there's like what recommendation we should give to INA, and this is a summary of those recommendations. We suggested that there is no need to make distinction between the 16-bit and 32-bit ASN. The INA must consider utilization of the total undifferentiated pool of ASN that contains 16-bit and 32-bit both, 32-bit only ASNs. And the second thing was how RIR manages their ASN resources. It is up to them as per their policies. We have no right to say anything about that. There is no requirement in the policy to form the block of 1024 AS numbers from a contiguous set. There is no need to have like contiguous set of AS numbers either from 2-bit or 2-byte or 4-byte. Or I would say I would stick to 16-bit and 32-bit. So there is no need to have a contiguous block. So the advice is RIR has the option of requesting a block of 1024 that consists of a non-contiguous block of a specific amount of 16-bit ASN and 32-bit only ASN. It is up to the RIR if they want X amount of 16-bit ASN and X or Y amount of 32-bit only ASN. That was the formal letter. That the letter is available publicly and the link is given at the end. But from the ASO-AC perspective, we saw a problem that we are running out of two 16-bit ASN, and this might pose a problem later on. So on that note, we give an advice letter or recommendation to the NRO-EC stating that less than 500 ASN are available in the INA pool, so it would be feasible if all IRs agreed informally that they will only request for 99 ASN from the 16-bit pool, then this will give all RIRs equal number of ASNs. So that is 99 approximately, because there are 498, I guess, not mistaken, 498 available at that time. So the new 16-bit ASN allocation is APNIC got, as we believe, the last 2-byte ASN, which is mentioned here. LACNIC got in the same month the last 99, and current status says that 298 ASNs are left with IANA pool, and remaining APNIC pool is 270 ASNs. So in that manner, according to this allocation of last 6 months, we will run out of 2 byte ASN by the end of next year somehow. So this is the current status. This is the advice we provided to IANA, and eventually all RIRs agreed to that point that they will not ask for more than 99 2 byte ASN, and they got it. APNIC and LACNIC already got it. So this is the status. These are the links, the allocation policy, and the ASO advice to IANA is also provided in the links. You can download and check it out. So on that note, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Thank you, Aftab. Is there any question or comment?
No, I think everything was very well defined. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, Aftab. So next is finally, let's discuss about proposal. Proposal 111, which proposed request-based expansion of POSIX default allocation size. So, Mr. Sexton, please present Prop 111.
Okay, thank you, Yamanishi-san.
1 second.
Yep.
Let me switch.
Yeah.
Okay, from now on, I will switch to Prop 111 as current proposal. So if you will refresh Confer page, I think you should see Prop 111 as current proposal. Okay? So.
Okay, Ken-san. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tomohiro Fujisaki, the first examinee of the Confer. So here I make a presentation about proposal 111, request-based expansion of the IPv6 default allocation size. Okay, this is abstract of my proposal. And in this proposal, I tried to allow an organization to receive IPv6 allocation up to /29. Here, up to /29 means from the /32 to the /29 by selector, by requester, by explaining, by showing their needs for that space. Okay, in next few slides, I explain why I proposed this proposal. Okay, maybe many of you know current IPv6 minimum allocation size to LIRs is /32. And I think it's better to expand this minimum allocation size up to /29 for the following 4 reasons. One is the address block usage. And before current sparse allocation mechanism implemented in the late 2006, /29 was reserved for all /32. And these address blocks might be kept unused in the future. And I heard that there are 220 allocations in this block. And I got this data from the APNIC allocation data. You can see the, such kind of allocation data from this URL. And as you can see, there are gaps between each allocations, and the gap will be unused in the future with the current policy. And for the sparse allocation address space, and as I said, the sparse allocation is implemented in the late 2006, and at that time, APNIC got /12 from the IANA. And this figure shows the how allocation will be made in the sparse allocation block. And in the sparse allocation mechanism, the first allocation is made at the start of the address block, this one, and the second allocation is made the middle of the address block, number 2, and the third allocation is made between the 1 and 2, the number 3, and the number 4, and the number 5, and so on. And as you can see, there are gaps between each allocations. And this is also got from the current IPv6 sparse allocation block. And as you can see, there are gaps between expansion. And if we expand the SAS32 to SAS29, it is possible to allocate one more SAS29 between each gaps. And this is my primary motivation to use the unused address block. And second point is to enable the flexible network design. And after the amended HD ratio and base calculation size was introduced as proposal 31 and 33, to obtain address blocks larger than 32 become a little bit difficult, especially for the small and middle-sized ISPs. So if we expand the address blocks to /29, it is possible to design ISP's network more flexibly. And this is third point and easier trust control. And I found some filtering documents which recommended to filter longer prefix than 32. So if ISPs want to conduct their traffic control, and they divided the 32 to the several 35 and 35. In this case, that longer 35 might be filtered in the network. And this is fourth point, and this number of announced breaks. And compared to this case 1, case 2, the case 1 is the LAR obtained one big size, /29 at the beginning, and case 2 got the first /32, and by the subsequent allocation, they got the 31, 30, and finally just 29. Maybe the number of the announced breaks is smaller in the first one, case 1. Okay, from these points, I propose to change current IPv6 allocation policy. And for initial allocation policy, additional allocation criteria, I add the let text. I want to add the let text. The organization can receive up to /29 by providing utilization information of the whole address space. And for the current existing IPv6 routers, I want to add this text to the section 534. Okay. And this is the situation of in other regions. And in live NCC, same kind of policy was already implemented in the 2012. And some of you read the mail in the policy meetings that like people say there are no problem with this policy. And currently, no other regions except for live NCC that have this kind of policy. Okay, and this is the advantages and disadvantages of my policy. And advantages is it is possible to utilize unused address block. And organizations can design the IPv6 network more flexibly, and it is possible to allow us to control the traffic easily. And this advantage will be, maybe some people say, this policy led to inefficient utilization of IPv6 space. But I think this will not occur because larger address block needs higher cost to maintain that address block. Okay. And this is the impact on the resource holders, and no impact on existing resource holders and new resource holder applicant if they do not need the additional address space. And NIRs must implement this policy if this policy is implemented by APNIC. Okay, next slide shows the changes from the previous version I presented at the Pelton Giant this year. At the last policy SIG meeting, I got some concern about address allocation without any constraint. And so I added to some criteria to get the additional space to show how to use the obtained extended address block for the initial allocation and also in the subsequent allocation. Okay, and also this discussion will be, many people see this discussion on the policy mailing list, but there are big discussion and currently ongoing on the mailing list about the nibble boundary allocation. Here, nibble boundary means the 4-bit boundary allocation, and here, not /29, but /38. And to summarize the discussion, the advantage of the nibble boundary allocation is the ease of address masking and calculation, for the operation is, and the ease of DNS reverse delegation. And I think that this advantage is the LIRs is legacy space that in the space before sparse allocation implemented cannot extend the prefix to /28, and this is not fair for the early adapter of the IPv6. And I personally think one more, the allocation size could be too huge to implement the nibble boundary allocation. For example, with the nibble boundary allocation, the allocation after /28 is /24 and /20. So this is so huge address space if there are no justification for the use of that extended block. Okay, this is the slide, the summary. And I propose to allow an organization to receive IPv6 allocation up to /29. Yes. And please see this figure. And address blocks, and from the /32 to /29, the LIRs can get address blocks only there, how to use, only showing the how to use the address block, and address blocks longer than, shorter than /39 is, the policy is not changed. Okay, this is end of my presentation. Any questions or comments, please?
Yeah, thank you very much for presentation. So, okay, let's go ahead.
Hi, Alice Valavi for Escrow. Can you go back one slide, please?
Yeah.
So you're basically saying that up to a /32, anyone can receive as much, well, anyone can receive up to a /32 upon request. What about between 32 and 29? Are you saying now that they need to justify, or that they just need to explain what they want to do with it?
Yeah, just explain how to use the address block. Currently, you need to show the HD ratio-based calculation to extend your block, but with my proposal, only how to use.
Okay, so you're saying basically that if I have a /32, I want to extend it to a /29, I just go to APNIC and I say, I want to extend it to a /29 because I like the new size.
Not how to use? Traffic engineering? Or
yeah, I just like the new number better, 29 instead of 32. That would be also an acceptable reason, right? Because otherwise, my question is, how will APNIC staff know whether one reason is justifiable or another one is not? Do you understand my point?
Yes, I understand my point. Yes, currently I suppose only the why you need what kind of why how to use this block, and yes, that's only so. I got your point. Yes.
Right.
Dean.
Dean Pemberton, NZ. My point is very similar to Elva's, is that we have a system of needs-based allocation today.
Yep.
You either have a need, in which case you can get the addresses that you need, or you don't have a need, in which case you won't be getting the addresses. There's nothing new required here. You either have a need for a /29, or you don't have a need for a /29. What we're discussing here is whether things like traffic engineering and wanting to deploy, a number of /32s from different parts of my network, whether that's a valid need. But that's nothing about what the proposal says. So we could solve this by having a discussion about whether traffic engineering and not actually ever allocating those addresses to end hosts is a valid need. But we're not having that discussion here. So I don't support this proposal because I think it's coming at this the wrong way. If what you actually want is to say that that traffic engineering should be a valid need that's considered by the host masters, let's have that proposal. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. As I said, my primary motivation is to use this unused address block. The traffic engineering is just side effect of it. Yes. That is my question. The answer, yeah.
Sanjaya.
Sanjaya, APNIC. If I understand this proposal correctly, the proposer wants people to allow to grow their 32 without meeting the HD ratio requirement.
Yeah.
That's correct, right?
Yeah.
And to work out the size, whether it's 31, 30, or 29, then the requester probably needs to fill in when you say utilization, is probably what the host masters in APNIC understand as a network plan. Because that's how we evaluate, the host masters in APNIC evaluates future needs through two ways. One is the network plan, and then just to see whether it's realistic or not, they also look at the historical trend as well. So that's how they counterbalance the request. So is it true then what you meant is if for people to get more than /32, even though they haven't reached their HD ratio, they only need to submit a network plan that can go up to a 29, and then we can just approve it without looking at their past HD ratio. Is that correct? I just need to understand.
Yes, I thought so, yeah. Your point is maybe he said at the past, yes, I just say yes. I think the network plan is suitable for the evaluation. Yes, please.
Oh, Gaurav, sorry, 1 second. I also have a question related with Elvis's point. So can somebody in APNIC answer it? Is it really doable? Because as Elvis said, if somebody said, I would have it because it's much better for me, is it enough explanation about needs?
Yes.
So my point is that can we make a line between appropriate explanation about needs and not so appropriate?
So in that point, I think the network plan, only network plan is good. And
Guang Liang from APNIC. From host master point of view, it would perform to see a level plan to show how you use that resource, right? You just say how to use it, but how to demonstrate your lead. And we basically look at your level plan. Your level plan will describe how you actually use those resources. But this policy seems the text is not very clear for the host master to implement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. Yeah, that's mainly because the original proposal is only request-based, and I add some very low barrier, just only shows how to use. So that's because it is very ambiguous and hard to justify.
Yeah, I think how to justify it should
Yep.
be some like guideline or something
Guideline,
for the
yeah.
host master. You just as other people say, oh, I just like that /29, or just give a reason, oh, I need that, I use it, I want to use it, right? Probably get some a bit more details
More
on,
detail, yes.
yeah, on the text and see. You should demonstrate your lead at least, based on the normal way. Yeah. Or provide a level pen to show how you use that space.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, Gaurav.
Thank you. This is Gaurav. I said earlier that this whole proposal to me seems like issue of semantics, but I'm still struggling to know why /29 was selected, or, to me, if you have a need, you get address space, right? And for that, you make a network plan. Right now, by default, we assign a /32 because the IETF at one point thought that was a good idea, right? So we say, okay, we can't really give out people less than a /32. So we said, okay, it's fine. If people need more than a /32, then they should easily be able to qualify for more address space. Now, there might be questions about, oh, but if we get a /29 or 30 or something, then it is easier for us to plan. I mean, nobody's stopping people from planning and getting that upfront. Yeah. You may not choose to use the one click and get the /32. You might just do a little bit of work and get it. So in that sense, and then the whole arbitrary number of /29 versus /28, the discussion going on the mailing list, right? Why did we get to /29 in the first place? For me, those 220 odd members might be a reason for it. And if that is such a big reason, why don't we just deal with those 220 members, offer them to renumber so that they can get more than a /32, or deal with them so that they can expand as needed, and then the rest of it can continue doing request address space on a need-based basis, and with a /12, for us to go below a /28, it will probably take quite a while. Or maybe we could make a separate policy for address reservation or something, but this policy kind of, doesn't really tickle me anywhere, doesn't make me think why are we spending so much time on this. Yeah, I know you put a lot of effort into this in the last meeting, but I'm still not convinced. Thank you.
Okay, Dean.
I agree with Gaurav's point. If this, if this is a problem, but it's a problem that we know the scope of, 220 allocations, and if we should have a policy to address this corner case. We shouldn't have a policy which will tie us into some other way of allocating addresses for all time, especially when what I'm hearing from the hostmasters is, if you have a valid need, you can get a /29 today. If I have a valid need that, I have a network plan and a growth plan, and some of it's around, allocations, and some of it's around multi-homing, I can get a 29 today. I don't need this policy to help me out. If there's actually a problem here, and it's a bounded problem, and we can do a policy and then pass the policy, and tomorrow it stops being a problem, let's do that. Let's not change the entire way that we allocate IP addresses, which seems to be working.
Naresh.
Naresh Ajwani. To the best of my understanding, Tomiroson has got a very valid proposal, and it is coming from two analyses of my own from his proposal. One, he's not talking about new need. He's talking about need from /29 to /32, which is very different to new need altogether. And this can be a reason, and there must be some reason which I am assuming, and I need his concurrence, that for a contiguous kind of a situation, if there has a provision left for someone to enhance in the same allocation from /29 to 32, it is very pertinent that there is some kind of a provision made, one. Two, this is a very efficient utilization of resources. We just can't suppose, for example, there is a requirement of /29 and someone needs more, then he has to go for another /29, which will be definitely not an optimum utilization of resource. It will be underutilization. If we allow someone to move from /29 to /32, may be very appropriate requirement. Correct me, Tomiro, in case I have not understood the way you have explained.
Sorry.
Oh, I need to repeat this?
So Naresh, you support this proposal?
If this is what he actually meant, if it is a different thing, then I need to really... Is it a new requirement, or it is from a requirement of /29 to /32? Oh, sorry, /32 to /29, so other way around, so please, yeah. I think she must have.
Yeah, please. Oh, thank you.
It's a little bit difficult. It might not make much sense for me to speak on your behalf.
Yeah.
But according to what we've been discussing in Japanese and my understanding of what Naresh is saying, I think he's basically pretty much explaining the purpose of your proposal. So the idea is you're not proposing to request for additional block from APNIC. It's something that's already reserved.
Yeah.
And you want to make an efficient use of this block by allowing, relaxing the criteria a little bit more. That's the idea, right?
Exactly, yes. Thank you so much.
So I support this.
But if so, okay, this problem is specific for this address space, but Prop 111 also proposed to newcomer, the same thing to newcomer. So now I'm quite mixed up about this point. Elvis.
Hi, Elvis, before escrow. So, as far as I can understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, this proposal is trying to somehow copy what is already being done in the RIPE region, where in the RIPE region, LIRs were given a /32, a /29 in total was reserved, so /39 minus the 32, and it would have never been used in the future unless these guys were coming for it, or unless the RIPE NCC would have run out of IPv6. Now, the policy proposal in the RIPE region, it's been a couple of years, but I'm trying to basically remember what the reasoning was for the policy proposal to get approved in the RIPE region. And the reasoning was lots of people were playing with all kinds of technologies, 6RD, etc., etc., etc. And they didn't want to use the /32 that was allocated to them, and basically the /32 that they would use in their primary network for playing with transitioning mechanisms and stuff like that. So that was one of the reasoning. The second reasoning was indeed that the /29s were reserved. Yeah. So since they are reserved, why not just allow the LIRs to use it? However, this indeed comes with a second question, because if this applies to these /29s, you would create two policies, one for early adopters, one for newcomers.
Yeah.
That would be one problem. The second problem would be that if you do apply this for everyone, so you have only one policy, then you would be allocating /29s and then reserving other 2-3 bits for any newcomer, which would continue to create the same problem, right? Because just as far as I know, the RIPE NCC does exactly the same thing right now. It allocates the block that the LIR requests, anything between a /39 and /32 and /29, and then reserves 3 additional bits. And I don't know if APNIC registration services would apply the same reservation theory or not. But yeah, that's a question to be asked as well.
Yes, for the first point, yes. And yeah, as the Elvis from the live region stated in the mailing list, it is possible to use another block to the testing purpose of something like that. So yes, it's one big benefit, I think. And the second point, I would also like to ask the APNIC secretariat if possible. So this is the current gaps using the current sparse allocation mechanism, and maybe I'm sure APNIC secretariat can answer, but how many address blocks will be reserved for?
Yes, Guang Liang from APNIC again. Yeah, I just want to explain how the practice of APNIC making the IPv6 allocation. We actually received 5/23 blocks from IANA before 2006.
Yep.
And from those blocks, we make /32 allocations. And each allocation will serve up to /29. That was the problem created. Yep. And all the IR do the same before 2006. And after October of 2006, IANA allocated /12 to each of the IR to allow them to make SPA allocations. And when APNIC received the /12, and we split it to 2/13. And the first /13, we're making allocation for those small, medium, and large, and start from like whenever they require. Most of them is /32, of course. And we're making those allocation from the first /13. And from that time to now, and this year, is the gaps at the moment. Each of those allocations can still go up to /24 at the moment. They're very close to the limit. And if you keep allocating more, some of them couldn't go up to /24 and maybe stuck in /25, right? So that is the problem we need to discuss, actually. If you want everyone can go up to /24, we need a new policy to say, we need to reserve. And then we can get that policy in. And then based on the policy, we can go to IANA and say, yes, we reached to our limit. We need a new block from IANA. That's probably the problem we need to show or discuss, and probably for the community to aware. And from the second /13, we have 2/13, right? From the second /13, we allocated to those very, very large allocation organizations like China Telecom, right? They need more. So we like some of the very big telcos. So from that pool, the allocations can still go up to /17 at the moment. Yeah, that is the status. And if we do need to reserve for those members, go up to like a /16. At this stage, it's impossible now. Some of them already chopped up into 17, right? But I believe like a 17 is still big enough for them at the moment. Yeah, and this is the status so far. And for the question the people asked before, APNIC will reserve a 3-bit, right, for after the SPA allocation. Actually, there's no reservation. Everyone can grow from the SPA pool. We don't need to do special reservation, but they still have the gap to grow. Yeah. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
After.
Hi. Aftab Siddiqui, Cybernet. We started this proposal like 2 events back or last event. The first version was very clearly stated that we just need to remove the requirement to have the remaining allocated space, reserve space, I would say, from APNIC, and grow from /32 to /29. That was the basic idea of that proposal that time. And even after 4 changes, which is version 4 right now, we are still debating on the same thing. So we haven't achieved anything. Now, in parallel, what we are discussing is to remove that /29 to make it /28. It has nothing to do with this proposal. So if that is the point, as Guangliang said, we can discuss it on the other side and make a proposal different from this one. And I think to move forward with this proposal, we should focus that what it is addressing right now. And it is very clear that it is just saying that there is no need to have a requirement to expand from /32 to /29, if I am correct. Thank you.
So I have one comment or question. And if we change the allocation size to /28, we should change the subsequent allocation criteria to get the here /24 or 2020 after the allocation.
Well,
so yeah, if you think the nibble boundary is important, yeah, actually I do not oppose such technical topics, but yes, if you want to allocate /28, the subsequent allocation should be /24 or /20.
Well, actually, the issue is we are debating something which is still not documented. Why APNIC made /29 is still quite unclear to me. That how Guangliang stated, like because it was small pool allocated initially, then it grew up. That's what I understand from his statement. So still we are not sure that why it was /29 and then now we want to make it /28. It is still a different topic. It is not.
Yeah, but the reason to allocate /28 is that is a nibble boundary.
Go with the nibble boundary. Why we are doing it on /29?
Why /28 in that case? Sorry, yeah.
It is close to /29, that's why. It is close to /29, that's why. There is no reason to be /28, /24, or whatever. I'm just saying if it is not /29, then we can discuss what it could be. If it is not /29, then it could be anything, which we can all agree on.
Sorry, I cannot understand the reason. I believe the reason /28 is to fit the nibble boundary. The reason not the /29 but the /28 is just nibble boundary reason. Without this reason, I think /29 is also suitable, I believe.
Okay. Let me just give last statement before I ask the other gentleman to ask the question. He is also standing for quite a long time. So the only thing I'm asking right now, in quote unquote, that you are also not comfortable with /29. Yes or no?
From the technical viewpoint, the nibble boundary is better than the current allocation.
That's my point. I said if it is not /29, then it could be anything.
But as Skip commented in the mailing list, that is between the address consumption and the operational ease problem. And from technical viewpoint, it's nibble boundary is good. But the address consumption or the viewpoint, /28 is a little bit big for the allocate to allocate.
So as /29.
Yeah.
Anyway.
One second. Sorry, we already spent 45 minutes on this proposal, so I'd like to cross microphone after you. Is it okay? Sure. Okay.
Hello, good afternoon. Andrea Cima from the RIPE NCC. I would like just to come back to the words mentioned by Elvis Vilea and just adding a few words about the motivation that brought the RIPE community to allow a member to request up to a /29. And the reason was simply to allow organizations that wanted to deploy transition mechanisms towards IPv6, like 6RD, to allow them to deploy 6RD in an easy way. So that was the main reason. And with regards to the reservations, I have to say that a reservation in the RIPE region is not guaranteed. So there was no guarantee to have the reservation up to the /29 when organizations would still receive a /32. And also now it is like in the APNIC region, like Guanyang mentioned, with regards to the reservation. So it's the same way.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So it's now time to ask consensus. But after this proposal. Okay. So this time I would like to ask 5 options to you: strongly support, neutral, oppose, strong oppose. Okay. Same as options on confer. Then at first, I'd like to ask you raising hands. So people who strongly support for this proposal, please raise your hand now. Support, strongly support, I said. Okay. People who support this proposal, please raise your hand now. Okay. So people who oppose but not so strongly, who oppose to this proposal, please raise your hand. Oh, I couldn't not see at the corner. Anyway, okay. So people who strongly oppose to this proposal, please raise your hand now. So people who is neutral for this proposal, please raise your hand. Oh, it's a pretty big number. Okay, I also want to check the result of confer. So does everybody already input your opinion for this?
Can we put it on the screen?
Adam, is it possible to show the result of the confer on the screen? Still changing the number. Please fix your opinion like now. Not playing with me. Okay? Yeah, but yeah, so there are some support, but there are also some opposed. Then also neutral is a quite big number. So I don't think we reached consensus for this proposal. Then since it's second meeting of this proposal, I also would like to ask whether we will continue discussion of this proposal or not. So let me, this time, yeah, yeah, let's use both. So people who think we need to have additional discussion on the mailing list again, please raise your hand like now.
Can you phrase it so that it's something that we can support or oppose?
What?
As written on here, the question is, do we push back Prop 111 to the list again or abandoned? And that's not something that I can support or oppose.
Yes. Yeah. that's my mistake. Yes. So if you think.
Let's just create a new one.
Yeah. Okay. 1 second. Let me create another one. Which one? Yeah, this one. Okay. I set new question on as current, so. Anyway, let me ask. This time I would like to ask 3 options. You want to continue or abandon neutral? Is it okay? So people who would like to continue the discussion about this proposal, please raise your hand now, like now. Oh, it's pretty different number. Okay, so people who doesn't want to continue the discussion, I mean abandon this proposal, please raise your hand right now. Why in this case we saw quite different number on the floor and confirm? It's very interesting. Well, okay, got your point. So can I assume other people are quite neutral for continuing the discussion or not? Is it okay? Okay, so it's very difficult. Okay, so
yeah, can I comment more? Yes, I personally think it's very difficult to get consensus with this topic, and I personally believe this policy should be implemented, but it's very hard to get consensus. And one point I want to say is the Congress result. The result is slightly different from the number of the hands, and we should check who push the number, and yeah.
Okay, but we are running out of time, so my suggestion for this proposal is I think there are objections from multiple points for this proposal. So I think it's quite difficult to reach consensus with this proposal, I think. So in this meeting, I would like to abandon this proposal. However, you can split this proposal a couple of parts, I think.
Okay, but yes, my primary point is to want to use the reserved area, so maybe I cannot split this proposal.
It's up to you.
Okay, yes, okay.
Okay, Gaurav, you have
comment? I think, Gaurav, there are parts of this proposal I like, but as Aftab or someone said, this started as one thing and now the discussion on the SIG policy is completely different. And it's become a quite different, based on the feedback, you kind of tried to modify it and, appeal to everyone, and obviously it's not working.
You're talking about proposal or comfort?
The proposal.
Comfort?
No, not comfort. Proposal.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and I would suggest my opinion. I just didn't strongly oppose abandonment. Is if this proposal comes back in a completely different form, right, with clear objective, maybe we need a special policy to deal with those 220 accounts, right? Just to deal with them, because that is legacy problem we have and we need to solve that. Then, okay, let's deal with that. And there's another problem, okay, we need to have a easier allocation criteria of going from 32 to 29, maybe look at that. And this whole nibble boundary came as a policy and was rejected, so I'm not keen to even bring that into discussion. So if those can be decoupled and be very focused, I'm pretty happy with this proposal coming back in some other form. But
just want to ask one point. It's okay to only to target the existing legacy
220.
Space? Yeah, just I add the sparse allocation area is the fairness of the total members.
So they were so everyone within that 220 allocations were unfairly dealt with because they were the early movers. And I'm pretty happy if a proposal comes up says, hey, they were dealt a bad hand because we didn't know what was going to happen, and now we're doing sparse allocation, but they can't really participate in that. So maybe we can work a policy on that, right? That I'm very happy to work on because I probably have one of those out of those 220 allocations, right? So that is a fair point, right? But taking that and saying, then that's why now we're getting this whole 29 versus 28 nibble boundary stuff, because we're trying to accommodate those /29 holders and trying to get them to /29, right? So maybe it can be decoupled and say, yes, those 220 are special cases. Let's get done with that. Then we can come back to the minimum allocation for V6 as a separate topic, right? That would be my preference in how this is dealt with. Thank you.
Okay, so let me refrain again. So this proposal itself, I would like to abandon this one, but I think problem statement, especially traditional allocation part, certainly exist. So it's very appreciated if you propose another one. And if you propose another one. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Saxon.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Also,
sorry, at last, it's
okay.
my honor to the first examinee of the conference. Thank you.
Then my comment is also related. Now we understand confer works well. Actually, No. I'm talking about it. It works. No. I'm talking about it works well from technical perspective. Then actually, this one was developed by APNIC staff internally. So I would like to ask great applause for Byron and also Gary. Gary is here. Thank you very much. Then, so Mayan, let's go to, it's already 3:30, so let's go to NLO-NC election result.
Now this is the moment. I have to say the result here, open. And there is no dispute received by now. So I suppose every people are really happy with it. I will call on one of the scrutineer to make announcement before, make a comment before the vote count process, before I announce the result. Yeah. Any scrutineer here? If there are no more, okay, please, would you? Andrew? Yeah. Any comments? Yeah, any comments according to the process of the scrutineer counting process? Okay, thank you. So no more comments. That's okay. Then so the result is coming from a blank. Sorry. Open it. By the numbers we received, total ballot accounted 40, This is on site. And the total valid ballot for 36, and the total invalid ballot 4. Candidate name in the descendant sequence. So total vote, total count for the vote, each of candidates will be RJ Kumar 215. The second one, Suman Ahmad Sabir 119. Craig Fonte 10. Ahmad Zaman 1. Mia Asad Ali Bek 1. Sunal Lak Sumro 0. So this is the end of the list and the signature of tellers and all the signature here, right here. So I will keep this one as the historical record. Okay. Nominees are already successfully elected into the NRO Number Council. So let's congratulations. And to all the nominees, we thank you for all your efforts to participate in this election process, and also thank you for the scrutineer works. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Mariam. Then, even though it's already 3:30, we still have one more item on the agenda. Then last one is what's the title? Yes, this one, update on LIPE NCC inter-RIL transfer proposal. So, Adam.
Oh, sorry.
I was waiting to be invited by the chair.
Oh, you have a comment?
I'd like to make an announcement, just quickly.
If I could just make a quick announcement and say that the session after the break is the lightning talk session. So for those of you that have submitted and had lightning talks accepted, could you make sure that you upload your slides into the slide submission system so that we can get them done quickly. So lightning talks, get the slides up. Thank you.
Mr. Gobinder.
Yeah, I just want to thank the committee who, on behalf of Dr. Ajay Kumar, for winning this NRO-NC election. Since he is not here, so I would like to thank the scrutinizing committee and entire APNIC for this grateful thing. Thank you.
Okay, Adam, your turn.
I'll try and make this quick then. I would let you all go, but this is kind of really important. As many of you will know, there's currently a policy proposal in the RIPE NCC region to introduce inter-RIR transfers, and I just wanted to run through a few things regarding that. I'm going to skip the stuff about APNIC's history because you should already know that. We had Prop 50, didn't have needs after the final /8, Prop 95, put that back in. Sorry, no, Prop 95 made inter-RIR transfers possible, and then we put needs-based back in with Prop 96. As you know, our only trading partner in the inter-RIR transfers is Aaron, and it's got the conditions on the recipient and the source. Obviously, those are not all of them. I've kind of cut it down to the important ones. But they must demonstrate need, as we all know, and particularly the point at the top, interregional transfers may take place only via RIRs who agree to the transfer and share reciprocal compatibles need-based policies. So we put the transfers back in. The RIPE NCC currently has a couple of things. You may be aware the RIPE NCC policies for V4 changed earlier this year, I think it was. And so this is a couple of snippets out of their RIPE document 622, which is their V4 policy, basically, and a link to the inter-RIR transfer policy. Basically, those all put together, to my mind, say this. Any LIR is allowed to reallocate complete or partial blocks of V4 address space that were previously allocated to the RIPE NCC. This is if the proposal goes forward, right? We don't need the next bit. This reallocation may be on a permanent or non-permanent basis. I just thought I'd throw that in because that's actually like leasing. We had a discussion about leasing recently, and so their transfer policy allows that sort of thing. When internet number resources are transferred to another RIR, that is, as in APNIC, the RIPE NCC will work with the destination RIR to allow the transfer. Next point, the RIPE NCC will work with its member LIR to fulfil any requirements of the sending RIR. And at the bottom, LIRs that receive reallocation from another LIR cannot reallocate for 24 months. So that, I hope you're following that. You'll have to read those slides afterwards yourself. This is the way I see it and why I wanted to speak to you. As I understand it, if the proposal as currently written is passed and implemented in the RIPE region, this would be the situation. For a transfer going from the APNIC region into the RIPE NCC region, the conditions on the source of the transfer would be defined by the counterpart RIR's transfer policy, which is the RIPE NCC's transfer policy. The RIPE NCC policy would be that the recipient should fulfill any requirements of the sending RIR. So it's circular. We say, you do whatever RIPE tells you to do, and RIPE says, well, you do whatever APNIC tells you to do. And we go, yeah, we told you that. Do what RIPE tells you to do. So there's a circular kind of problem there, which I guess we could say, meh, well, we'll just ignore it, and there's nothing needs to be done. Everyone's policies are set. The RIPE NCC, because of its existing V4 policy, would add a couple of things to the recipient. They would need to confirm that they will make allocations, and then they wouldn't allow to be able to retransfer that in 24 months. And we've got some RIPE Secretariat people here. They can maybe correct me at the mic if I've got this wrong. My question is, will the ARIN community, who are a very successful transfer partner for the APNIC community, see that as a reciprocal compatible needs-based policy? Because if they don't, they will say APNIC's transfer policy is null and void, and sorry, we can't trade with you as a partner. And so we would be able to do transfers to and from RIPE, but not with ARIN. And I wanted to make sure that everyone was aware of that, and maybe it's a question and an issue we can discuss, or community members can discuss at the coming meetings at ARIN and RIPE. I'm bringing it up now because there's every possibility that this will be implemented in the RIPE NCC region before the end of the year, which is before our next policy cycle, and so there would be nothing we can do to stop it.
Fujisaki-san, go ahead.
Yes, Tomohiro Fujisaki. Thank you very much for explaining current discussion status in the RIPE region. And I understand the current status, but I think that actually, as an author of the inter-RIR transfer policy, we should carefully discuss this point because we changed our transfer policy to allow the transfer between ARIN, that is to change the needs-based. So if we change again, not needs-based, but we maybe lost the connection, the inter-RIR transfer connection between ARIN. So I personally think we should maintain needs-based policy, and under that policy, we start the inter-area transfer between RIPE and CC is possible.
Oh, but I think Adam's point is a little bit different. Even though we will maintain the...
I'm not telling you should keep or not keep needs-based policy. What I'm trying to say is, because of what's happening in RIPE, this could upset our relationship with the ARIN transfers.
Yes, yes.
So we would still be needs-based. So resources coming from the ARIN region into APNIC would still be needs-based assessment. However, the ARIN community...
Move to slide. Yeah, this
back
one.
here. So, however, the ARIN community could well interpret the situation in the following way. Once resources are sent to APNIC, they can then be transferred to the RIPE region with a less substantial needs-based requirement. And so they may say, APNIC's policies are no longer compatible. And so they would say we can no longer transfer. So even if we don't change our policies, we could cease to be a compatible needs-based trading partner.
Yeah. Just I want to say is during the discussion, we have to think about the needs-based. We just want to say that portion, needs-based policy is necessary to maintain their transfer, inter-area transfer between ARIN. Just only want to say it. And if we change we implement another policy, it might lose that condition. What I want to say is that condition, yes.
But problem is needs-based requirement is set at receiving side, right?
Set at what?
Set at receiving side. Recipient
According
side.
to our policy, yes.
Yeah, right. Currently, each RIL set as
yes. So what I'm saying, we wouldn't change our policy, but because we don't put any policy on a receiver, if that receiver doesn't need to demonstrate need, then effectively we are no longer needs-based, possibly. Sorry, maybe not making sense here. I think Aftab was next.
You're up.
Okay. Yeah, Aftab Siddiqui, Sabinet. As you just said, I was just walking down and you just said it yourself, so let me ask it anyway. So our policy is in line with ARIN's policy because ARIN has a need-based requirement. And if RIPE NCC through with this policy, then as you mentioned, we'll be in a circular, like never-ending circle. So I think there is a need to update our policy if we don't want to put us in any trouble with the ARIN's policy, because so far everything is working fine because ARIN has a proper policy and we have a policy and we are aligned with each other. The moment RIPE NCC policy comes up, it will jeopardize everything. I wouldn't say jeopardize, they will be happy, RIPE NCC, but anyway, it's not going to work for us. So I think we should change our policy.
Last comment, Dean.
This isn't something that we can decide now, because your last sentence on there says pretty much says everything. This is up to the ARIN community to decide what this looks like, and unfortunately we've put ourselves in a position, and I can't believe that I'm channeling Randy here. We've put ourselves in the position of being at the whim of another RIR. Our policy is only as it is because we wanted one more go at the IPv4 crack pipe. Okay, we wanted one, we need those addresses, so we'll change our policies to be whatever we need to do in order to be transfer compatible. And I just heard the same thing here again, right? That on a problem, someone else has a new policy, we'll change again. So I think we need to think about it very carefully, but we need all the information. So we need to know what the ARIN community would think about this, because obviously we're not that attached to our current policies. We'll just change them.
Sure, Dean, and I understand, and we don't know, and this is what makes it difficult. If I were currently in the transfer market and pre-approved for a transfer of a /16 from APNIC Secretariat, and I sign the contract and I turn up the next day and they say, sorry,
Yep.
you can no longer do that.
Absolutely.
It would be pretty inconvenient, and you're probably not in that position. I'm not sure how many pre-approved transfers we have in the system.
So one way to go down this track is to actually open a dialogue with whoever the ARIN community is, and say, well, how do we resolve this? But it's not something that necessarily we can do in isolation, because unfortunately there are now 3 players here. Okay, and at some point we need to get those 3 players together and say, how do we kind of do this as a group?
Agree. That's what I'm trying to kick off.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry. I said his last comment. I know. Then another reason is, as Dean just said, I don't think we can reach some conclusion in today, right? Because it's related with other allies. We are not sure how ARIN people will say of this issue. So the main purpose of this presentation is sharing current status, and also it may become some issue. Okay.
Just one remark. Andrew Delahaye, RIPE NCC. Currently we are creating an impact analysis, which is a staff assessment on the policy and how we would interpret it. Part of that impact analysis is reaching out to APNIC and to the ARIN region as well to see how they look at our policy. That staff assessment, or impact analysis as we call it, will be published in the next 2 weeks. So everybody that has any interest in it, please have a look at it. And that will also then answer the questions whether you have to do something here, yes or no. Yeah? Okay, thank you very much, Andrew. So that's all we have today. Then thank you very much for your cooperation as always. The OPM of APNIC 38 is end. Thank you very much. Dean Penpatter. Would you like to start lightning talk from 4 p.m.?
From 4 p.m., yeah.
Okay, so next one is the lightning talk, and it will start from 4 p.m.